We're back on Spoken Truth. Now we're going to talk about the LA Lakers Golden State Warriors series. Game one was last night. It was a great game. Lakers ended up winning it 117 to 112, but the Warriors made a push in the end, tied it, and then the Lakers were able to fight it off. What did you guys think of that game? And where does the series go from here?
Um, Great game. Start off by saying it was a great game. Both teams, it delivered. Um, Steph and LeBron, I believe they had okay games. I don't believe they had great games, either one of them. Especially shooting the ball. But they impacted the team the way that they usually impact their team. So kudos to them. Um, there's so much to talk about here. And I don't even know how long it'll take. Let's just find out and see.
What was
For
what
sure,
was what was the biggest reason the Lakers won, in your opinion? Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis just dominated in the paint.
Yeah.
Just dominant. I mean, 30 and 23. 30 points, 23 rebounds. I believe he was 9 and 10 in the half. First
Mhm.
and second quarter, he scored 23 points in that first that half. He was very efficient. He came out second half. You could tell he was a little slower. He went 2 for 7 and scored 7 points in that half. The biggest takeaway to me, and I go both teams here. The biggest takeaway for the Warriors is you know exactly what lineup you need to play against this Laker team. Now that would change some. It would have changed between who plays that five role. I believe they will come out with that quote unquote Sun version def lineup that they had last year because that's the lineup they were using to make their run, that 14-0 run with 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. They made that run playing that offense. Now, the thing for the Lakers is that the Lakers know they have the decisive advantage inside. They know that Anthony Davis can't be stopped no matter who the Warriors put on him, whether that's Looney, whether that's Draymond, whether they try to put Kaminga on him. My God, it's just going off. Looney, too slow. Draymond Green is too small. Kaminga, he's just too soft in the back. I'm just being honest. He has the speed for it, but I don't think he has the overwhelming size to compete with AD. So Anthony Davis is the de facto key for the Lakers to win this series. If he continues to dominate the way he's dominating, it's going to be very hard for the Warriors to win this series. The thing is, we've seen over the last series, we're going to see if it continues. Anthony Davis has on games, off games, on game, off games. He's not consistent, especially last series, when it comes to how he's performing. So if he's going to give us consistent 30, in which I think the Warriors are, because we're going to give you 30. We're going to concede 30 points to you. You can't give him 23 boards. The Warriors have to figure out how to, for one, defend without fouling. For two, keeping him from scoring easy, easy points. They scored so easy. The biggest difference is they just score so much easier than the Warriors. The Warriors have to do so much to score. Off screens, three. They have to get Steph over all this movement. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I'm saying the Lakers score easy. They score relatively easy because no one could defend Anthony Davis in the paint. We look at these numbers. The Warriors, they shot 21, they made 21 threes. They outscored the Lakers by 45 points from the three-point. The Lakers scored 54 points in the paint. You cannot win. You cannot win giving up 54 points in the paint. The Lakers went to the free throw line double what the Warriors went to the free throw line. They out rebound them by an insane fucking rate. When I combine their amount of rebounds and their free throws, 50-45. 50-45. So by the amount of points that they scored for the free throw line and how much they outscored them by two in the paint, that's 50 total. The Warriors outscored them from the three by 45. 50 minus 45 is 5. They lost by 5. The difference in the games is simple. They're both playing their style of basketball, but one is scoring at a relatively easier rate than the other. And they're going to have to figure out how to stop Anthony Davis. Then now you're not going to stop him. You can't slow down great players. You have to slow him down somehow. What I like from the Warriors is Steve Kerr. He figured it out at the very end. And if they had more time, maybe they could have actually won this game. He realized that, you know what, I cannot man these guys up. I have to zone on certain key plays. And then that zone, what it does is it disrupts everything they have going on. But it's problems with the zone. You're going to get a good shot every single time, and it's hard to rebound. The Warriors are going to have to give up rebounding in some way, shape, or fashion. And they're going to have to play zone in spurts in this entire game to stop them from getting easy layups. They have to, or they will not win this series. You cannot just outshoot them. They want you to outshoot them. LeBron and Anthony Davis are keying in the paint. They're not even guarding Wiggins. They're not even guarding Draymond. They're not even guarding Looney. They're not even guarding GP2. They're focusing on two guys. They're not even, half of the time they weren't guarding Poole. They were letting Poole just shoot. They're focusing on Steph and Clay. Until the Warriors figure out how to move all of that around and make everybody a threat on the court by their passing, by their movement, by their screens, and being able to score inside, this is going to be a long series for them if they can't figure out how to slow them down from scoring easy. I'm not saying that they can stop them, but I'm saying it is too easy for the Lakers to score inside. And it can't continue to happen, or they won't win this series. It'd be a short series.
So I will just say, from the Anthony Davis being inconsistent perspective, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'll just, I think, and this isn't a knock on you, Danny, so much as this is just a thing I've heard. Like, I heard Charles Barkley say it last night, and I just think it's like crazy. Yeah, like, he's been by a country mile the best defensive player in the playoffs this postseason, and is averaging 22 points a game to go along with that. I understand that there's been a game in there where maybe he shot poorly. I just I mean, we even saw him with LeBron out, put the Lakers on his shoulders to the point where they're even in this position right now. I just disagree with that. You guys have already heard me say I think he's the best defender in the NBA. So even if Anthony Davis is giving you 10 or 15 points, he's still having a giant impact on the game with all he gives you defensively.
You won't win.
Say that again?
You won't win.
And we could argue about that, but Anthony Davis has a big impact on the game no matter what offense looks like for him, because of what he does for them defensively, because of how he protects the rim. It's not even just the shots he blocks, it's the shots he doesn't block because they don't get attempted. Yeah, all that being said, I thought, you made some succinct points about the different styles of play. The Lakers are making it a point to put pressure on the rim as they normally do. The Warriors are, countering all of that with kind of perimeter shot creation, especially because they're not trying to challenge Anthony Davis. And when they did, it didn't go well, or LeBron for that matter. I think from the Lakers' perspective, I kind of looked at things and was really interested in seeing how they opted to match up with the starting five that they've been running out there of D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, LeBron, and AD. I kind of thought that they would go with the lineups that they did end up going with. So they put Vando on Curry, Reeves on Clay, D'Lo on Wiggins, LeBron on Draymond, Looney on AD on Looney. Just because in an ideal world, you really want to be able to keep two of you definitely want to have AD, able to play back line and protect the rim, and you want one of LeBron or Vando kind of doing the same thing. Except Vando is, out of the guys they have in the starting lineup, the best option they have to guard Steph. So that's what they went with. He was the primary defender, and I honestly was a little iffy about that, just because as great a defender as I think Jared Vanderbilt is, his screen navigation is, something that he struggles with. And obviously we know what the Warriors offense looks like and how much they like, using off-ball screening actions and using Steph's gravity. That being said, Jared Vanderbilt was incredible last night. So, he was huge. His length and size bothered Steph on multiple occasions. And I think the thing that maybe I underestimated and that really jumped out to me, Steph Curry is one of the only players I've ever seen who is still very comfortable shooting the three in pick and roll and screening actions when somebody goes over the screen. Most guys with somebody behind them or kind of trailing them in that situation are going to, try to get feet in the paint, or they just feel uncomfortable. Steph shoots the ball and his conscience is clear and it doesn't affect his shot at all. But with, a 6'8" guy behind him and a 6'8" guy with that athleticism and length trailing him, is one of the first times I've ever seen Steph hesitant to really take that shot. That makes a big impact on a game like last night, especially when you've got a guy like Anthony Davis that you can funnel things into in the paint. So I think, just got to really – the defensive work that Jared Vanderbilt did last night was huge. Went a long way towards the Lakers winning that game. Danny, you mentioned the lineups that, that Golden State kind of has to answer with, and the modified death lineup and all of that. I think where I land with all of this, and this is part of why I don't think we've gotten to pick this series, but my pick pre-series and now would have been Lakers in 6 and is Lakers in 6. Is just because Golden State doesn't really have a lineup they can play without giving up a significant amount of something. With the lineup that they've been starting with and been playing a lot, where you've got Draymond and Looney in, there's functionally two non-scorers on the court. It's kind of hard to make that work, especially with a team like the Lakers that has the ability to protect the rim like they do in the size and the length and the athleticism. You take Kevon Looney off the floor, you lose a significant amount of rebounding ability, which is an issue when you're playing a team with the Lakers' size and length and athleticism. So whatever you get back in space and you lose on that, you lose in that respect. And you lose with just being able to stay in front of guys and guard your yard. Danny, you mentioned the foul discrepancy. A lot of that came because the Warriors just couldn't stay in front of, the Lakers guards. In particular, Dennis Schroeder got wherever he wanted. And they said it on the broadcast last night, but Dennis Schroeder shot more free throws than the entire Warriors team last night. They just couldn't stay in front of him, kept having to foul him. And so on and so forth. If we go down the line, they give up something fairly significant. And then you look at the Lakers lineups, and it's just not quite the same problem. The Lakers' biggest issue, honestly, is going to be what they do in the non-AD minutes, because they don't really have a backup big that they can feel comfortable with. It's Wenyen Gabriel. One of the things I'm going to be looking at in this series, I'm kind of nerding out here about all of this. Wenyen Gabriel, in my opinion, really shouldn't be on the court at the same time as Kevon Looney. In the words of Charles Barkley, he's too light in the ass. Not a good idea. Going to hemorrhage rebounds, especially on the offensive glass. So I'm interested in seeing in this series. I think AD's minutes will probably end up being matched with Looney's minutes. And when Looney sits, those are the chances that they'll have to give AD a rest. I do think part of the reasons the Lakers struggled to close this game last night is because AD was exhausted. He played, 44 minutes? And that's going to be something to monitor going forward as well.
That's for. I have several points. 1 second, Chaz. I know you wanted to say something.
No, go ahead.
But going back, it's several points. I'm at the beginning of what you were talking about that I wanted to touch on, but I guess I can go what's fresh in my mind right now. I think the thing is, the Warriors know they're giving up something. The Lakers are naturally a bigger team than them. They know they're going to give up that. I think what they tried to do is first of all, this is a fill-out game, like all game ones are. The Lakers are coming off the rest. Of course, we know that, and the Warriors are coming off a 7-game series, which is going to call it what it is. But regardless of that, the Warriors didn't play a terrible game, even though, to me, they didn't particularly shoot well. None of their big stars really shot well. I mean, Steph was 10 from 24. Clay was 9 for 24. Poole, he shot 6 of 10 from 3. But when Steph has 27 points or 24 shots, that's not efficient at all. So I think the Warriors know they're giving up something. You're going to give up the size either way it go. This is literally when I was on another podcast earlier. You're giving up something either way you go, whether that's in length, whether that's something you're giving up that you're a small team. We know that. So how do you combat that and be able to compete in this game? You go small. You have to go with the small ball lineup. Because what we saw in the 14-0 run is that they literally had the Lakers out of rhythm. The Lakers didn't really know what was coming at them when they went to their small ball lineup. When they were transitioning into the zone, the Lakers were, at first they were able to flawlessly pass the ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now in that zone, it's crunch time. You're passing the ball, and now you have to make the decision whether am I making the play or am I shooting? Like, what am I doing? So the Warriors put them in a position where they had a limited amount of time to make a move. And that caused them to turn the ball over, caused them to miss shots, got the Warriors back in the game. Anthony Davis is going to be very, very key because he had 45 minutes yesterday. The Warriors, that's a key. You have to continue to push the pace. He cannot, and I'm saying with all due respect, Anthony Davis cannot continue to play 45 minutes and give you 30 and 23. He just can't, and he doesn't have the stamina. I'm not saying it's not his fault. He's just a bigger guy. Like, you can't play him that many minutes and expect him to be as effective that he was in the first and second quarter to be that effective in the third and fourth. We see how he dropped off. And went 2 for 7 in the second half. The Warriors are looking at that and it's like, okay, we made them run. And one thing that Sacramento did in Game 6 that they beat us at was they made us run. They ran faster than we did. We couldn't keep up with them. Now we need to reverse it back to the game and say the Lakers, they can't keep up with us. The Lakers are a relatively larger team, but they're not necessarily a fast team. So if we get them running in transition in key moments and play how we know that they can play their defense, they can easily get back into this series. And I mean, obviously it's still one game, so it's still far, far away. But you also mentioned something about Anthony Davis when you were talking about, Charles Barkley mentioned that he's on and off. This is not something that I just came out of my head with. When he's scoring 19, 18 points on 9 shots, the Lakers are losing. Anthony Davis is the key to the Los Angeles Lakers. If they plan on winning a title, he is the key. If they go as far as Anthony Davis go, if he's dominant, which he can be, the Lakers will win. If he's not, they won't. The Lakers are not a good three-point shooting team. So as we saw that they were spying off of our bigs that can't shoot, the Warriors were practically daring the Lakers to shoot. So that's one of the things that they're paying attention to as well, is that, okay, we did things terribly wrong in here, and we know that these are some of the remedies to fix it. I think what Steve Kerr is going to do, I think we're going to see a dose of Jonathan Kuminga a little bit in this series, more than we didn't see him many last year. One of the biggest reason is he's a body. He got 6 fouls. Literally 6 fouls. You're a body. We're going to see less of Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney played 33 minutes in last night's game. We're going to see less of him, and you're going to give up something. If you're going to give up second chance opportunity, you're going to give up something. If you're going to play that small ball, you're going to give up something. If you're going to play that zone, you're giving up something. It's a give and take. You're giving up something. So the Warriors have to, I think they have to put Draymond at the 5. They have to put Wiggins at the 4. Then they have to play that small ball line. You have to start Jordan Poole, unfortunately. And you have to start him with the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay, and be able to have 3 legit scorers out on the floor. And the rotation is a whole different other element. But I expect Looney to not see a heavy dose of minutes come game 2. I expect that to be significantly reduced. And they're going to turn it into a track meet, in my opinion. That's one of their biggest ways that they can win this series. They have to tire the Lakers out. They have to.
It'll be fun to see what they do. Chaz, please jump in here.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get your guys' take on that zone. You both mentioned it a little bit. Lakers, I think they built like a 14-point lead, and then Warriors stormed back with a 14-0 run in like a 3.5-minute span that tied the game. Do you think that zone is something that they will continue to do? And is it the effectiveness sustainable? Because I feel like the Lakers will.
The zone is never sustainable, no matter what team you're. The zone is not designed to be used for a totality of a game. Like, you cannot come down every single play and play zone. The zone, the problems that it, and I said it a little earlier, the problems that it presents is that the opposing team is going to get a quality shot every single time. They're going to get a quality shot. Whether they make it, that's up to them. They're going to get a quality shot. The second, it's hard to rebound. It's hard to rebound on the zone. So you're going to get second, sometimes third, sometimes fourth chance opportunities. So the Warriors going to have to pick their spot to win a play zone. In that 5-minute stretch, they played zone and it worked in their favor. I think the Lakers are smart enough. They have LeBron over there and others to figure out that, oh, this worked a little bit in the last 5 minutes. How can we fix that for that not to happen again? I don't think the Warriors are going to stop playing it, but I don't expect the Lakers to just keep getting abused by it like they got in the game 1. But the Warriors will play it, and they will dare the Lakers to shoot. We're going to see that in game 2. They're going to dare them to shoot. LeBron is shooting 18% from the 3. They're going to dare him to shoot. They're going to dare others to shoot.
Yep. And I mean, you mentioned the 45-point that the Warriors won the 3-point line by 45 points. I just personally, I think LeBron's shooting numbers we'll see some positive regression from them. He's a much better shooter than how he's been shooting. They'll start to go in at some point. And in general, I just don't see the Warriors winning the 3-point line by 45 again.
It won't happen again.
In the series. Or probably, yeah, like that's just they came, fairly close to setting the record for most threes made in a playoff game ever. They probably won't set that record in this series. Like you mentioned, Danny, the zone isn't, meant to be a thing you play 24/7, and I think the Lakers got good shots against it. I think they just missed them. If you heard LeBron's post-game press conference, he went down the line and rattled off a list of them. Like, he missed a fadeaway, AD missed a shot, D'Angelo Russell missed a very clean look from 3 in the corner, Austin Reeves missed a 3. They got good looks out of it. Just, it is a make-or-miss league. You got to make the shot.
And you have to live and die with those shots if you're the Warriors. And people, I've been hearing all day, and people's like, you guys should have won that game. You guys should have won that game. You outscored them by 45. I'm like, look at the numbers. Like, this is a numbers game at the end of the day. The Warriors outscored them by 45 from the 3, but the Warriors were dominated in the paint. Flat out, we could say this is a 2 and 3 point lead, but when you're getting doubled at the free throw line and you're getting outscored and you outscoring the paint, that equals exactly 50-45 equals what you lost by. So there's no such thing as they should have won this game, or they blew this opportunity. They had the confidence on it, so they had made all these threes. We're not expecting them to make 45 threes. I'll get outscored by 45 and make 21 threes again. But can you not let them score 54 points in the paint? Can you not have them double you by the free throw line? I mean, so even if they don't score that, can you stop them somehow from going to the free throw line? And can you stop them from scoring 54 in the paint? Like, it's a give and take. So I think these numbers are heavily skewed. I think this Warriors 21 is heavily skewed. I think those free throw attempts is heavily skewed. I don't know about those paint numbers because that got AD written all over it. But I don't think there's going to be, even though the Lakers were number one in free throws, the Warriors were the worst. I don't think it's going to be that big of a discrepancy. Like, that's huge. Like, that's a huge difference. I don't think it's going to be that big. So these numbers are a little skewed a little bit, in my opinion. We'll see them kind of come back to life in game 2.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they'll be that drastic, but I do think that the clash of styles is why those numbers were like that. And I think they will continue to be like that, probably not as drastic like you're saying. But that's one of the reasons that I'm so intrigued about this series, beyond, the LeBron versus Steph and all the stars in this series, the two California teams, there's a lot of storylines. But just the two type of teams that these are, Warriors, where they're a lot more movement based and they're shooting obviously a lot more threes, versus the Lakers, who are a pretty slow paced team and they're pretty much just trying to get into the paint. I think that's one of the most intriguing things about this series. And then Tunde, I did want to go back to something that you mentioned about Jared Vanderbilt. I thought he was phenomenal last night. Obviously Steph still had a solid game, 27 points, led the Warriors, but like Danny, like you said, took him 24 shots to do so. Jared Vanderbilt and Dennis Schroeder played defense at a very high level, made it difficult on Steph, which is pretty much all you can do, is make it as hard as it can. Steph still hit that three pretty much backing up on his heels to tie the game. But he also had a lot of solid looks that he wasn't able to hit because Vanderbilt was in his airspace. And that Lakers defense, I thought, played at a really high level, 10 blocks. AD had 4, LeBron had 3, Vanderbilt had 2. So I thought that defense was really playing at a high level. Obviously, Vanderbilt's not going to be able to do that every single game to Steph. But do you think that's something that he can stretch out through a whole series, and that can be a reason that the Lakers win?
Yes and no. He's a hell of a defender.
Yeah.
I got to give him credit. I don't necessarily know, because here's the thing. Steph has to play on ball. They have to, whatever they wanted to come up with somebody else bringing that ball up, Steph needs to initiate the offense. When Steph Curry initiated the offense, the percentages that he initiated the offense were about 25%. The Warriors scored on every single possession Steph initiated the offense. He has to initiate the offense. In that stretch where they wanted a 14-0 run in the fourth quarter with 5:14 left, he initiated the offense. Steph needs to bring the ball up the court, because what that does is that spreads everything out. It's different when he's playing off the ball, because now your defender is right there solid and he's in his face. So it's really hard because Vanderbilt is so lengthy and he's tall and he's very stout built. So he can keep up with him on the pick screens and the ball screens, and he's not worried about scoring. He's tasked with just guarding Steph. So what that does, if Steph bringing the ball up, is it opens everybody up. Now Steph needs to be able to dance a little bit. I don't know why they're trying to lock him up a little bit. He needs to be able to move around. He needs to be able to make plays like he did when they went on that run, like he did when they scored on every single possession where he handled the ball. He has to be able to do that. He was playing too much off the ball. And that's credit to Vanderbilt's defense, because I believe they did that because the way he was guarding him. Now it's up to Curry to figure out how he can manipulate that. And I have faith that he will be able to do it. But I noticed even when he wasn't bringing the ball up, he was cooking everybody else. He was cooking Schroeder. When Austin Reeves got switched on him, he was cooking Austin Reeves. Anthony Davis, obviously, he's a more stout and taller defender, so he struggled a little bit with Anthony Davis. But when they put Schroeder and Austin Reeves on him, he cooked them. So even if he's going to look for the switch, he has to look on the switch to go to that man. And if they're going to continue to play him like that, I think that favors Golden State if he's able to bring the ball up. If they continue the same style they're playing, I think the Lakers have the advantage. And I'm changing my pick. I got Warriors in 6.
What was it?
Warriors in 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had the Lakers for a second. I was like, wow. Tuna, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your points about Steph needing to play on ball more. Also thought for the Lakers, this might be a series where they'd be able to get some Troy Brown minutes and maybe some Malik Beasley minutes. Troy Brown was really bad last night, just consistent issues navigating screens, which is funny because that's one of the things I felt like he does well. I'll be interested in seeing if they can't find a way to get Malik Beasley in the game and see if he can't break out of this extended slump he's been in. Yeah, all that being said, though, I agree that Steph's got to probably play a bit more on ball. I think the Warriors probably have to go to the high roll. We have a lot more in this series. As we know, that's not really something that they want to just spam. So I'll be very interested in seeing what that looks like. The last time we saw them be in a situation like that was in the finals, where they weren't getting anything against Boston outside of the high and roll. Then Boston decided to change the way they were playing defense. So then finally the rest of the offense started working. So I'll be very interested in seeing what these next few games look like.
I think one of the biggest difference that I've seen, not even this year, just when Steph plays Anthony Davis in general. I'm talking about when it have to be with the Lakers. I'm talking about when he played them in general in the past. Is Anthony Davis, the difference that I see now is that Anthony Davis, when he played him back then, Anthony Davis was trying to come out to the perimeter to guard Steph Curry. Anthony Davis is not moving from that paint right now. He's not moving from the paint. The Warriors have to figure out how to score while Anthony Davis and LeBron is sagging off their men in the paint. One of the main reasons why Looney cannot play, because he's just there. So one of the biggest things that I see is that the Warriors, for this team having a high power offense the way they do, when it comes down to it, they're just scoring so hard. Like, it's so difficult for them to score if they're not shooting threes. And it's so easy. That's really what I deduced from this first game. The Lakers score easy baskets. They just score so much easier than the Warriors do. And the Warriors is going to be their game plan to try to figure out how to slow that down.
Yeah, there's no doubt that those 54 points in the paint were likely the difference. Anthony Davis was obviously the biggest factor in that. Before we moved on, I did want to get your guys' thoughts on that potential game-tying shot by Jordan Poole. About 28 feet out. I think there was about 10 seconds to go when he caught the ball. I know that obviously the Warriors have stuck by it. Draymond, Steph said, he can make that shot. So, we're fine with it. What did you guys think of it?
It wasn't. The problem that I have is that it was just so much time left. Like, it was just so much time left. I feel like he could have stepped more into that shot in the rhythm. If he was going to, I don't have a problem with him taking it. I'm just mad that when you go back and look at the shot, his body was all contorted. Like it would just, he just took it weird. It was a weird shot for him. Not saying he can't make them. I just, I just rather him step into it in rhythm and take that shot. He just went so fast. They had so much time. I think the biggest fear for them was, and when it got under 10, was them fouling. But even if they still fouled, you still had time left. You're going to play the clock now. You're going to play the 2-for-1 game. Go down, make your free throws, whatever the case may be, give them the ball, foul. Now you're playing a foul game. Eventually you're going to get a shot, hopefully. I just think he went too fast. I know Steph was double teamed. Clay wasn't as hot either. For people telling me they all hit 6 threes, I'm like, you have to look at the game within a game. Just because you hit 6 threes doesn't mean you're having a good game. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the reality. So I don't necessarily. I definitely have laxed on it. Like early, like late last night, I was real mad about it. But I had to realize, like, he has the ability to make those shots. It just didn't go his way that time. So, I mean, I don't believe Steph could tell you anything. Like, Steph could say, yeah, that was a good shot. I know in that man's mind, he was like, fuck, like, come on. Like, I just know, like the way that it reacted on the court and the way that it reacted in this post-game interview, it's just like, I'm not mad with the shot, but it's like, damn, you could have made it look a little better or take it in rhythm or something. And it was just not there. So
Yeah, I don't think it was, the worst potentially game tying shot. But I do think with that much time left, he either could have looked to get the ball back to Steph, and set a screen for him at the same time, or just pump fake. I think Jared Vanderbilt was the one coming over kind of late on the contest. If you just throw a pump fake, one dribble, pull up, I think it looked to me like there was still plenty of space that he would have been able to take a couple steps in, and maybe get a more in rhythm shot. But like everybody has said, it's a shot that he can make and that he has made before. So, when you see it go up, you think it has a chance. That's really all you're asking for at a game tying shot. But I do think with that much time left, they probably could have gotten a better one.
mm-hmm.
Tunde?
Chaz, you've played basketball with me for a very long time at this point. So I feel like what I'm going to say or what I would have done in that situation. I'm actually curious, Chaz, if I was in a situation like that, what do you think I would have done?
Shot it. I don't think you think that's a bad shot.
I don't. You are correct. I don't think that's a bad shot. I think it's a little more complicated than a lot of people are making it. I think a lot of people do feel like, he could have stepped in. In that situation, clock under 10 seconds, you don't get a chance to take that step in. People are gonna somebody's gonna come running at you, and then again you have to get into the whole swing game, and all of that. And the clock is running down. I believe he took that shot. There's about 8 seconds left on the clock. I think he got a clean look with his feet set. I know it's a bit deep, but he has shown the ability to make those with a fair amount of consistency. I think he got a clean look with his feet set. I think it's perfectly fine to let that fly, especially because when he took the shot, there's enough time for if he misses and they get an offensive rebound, there's enough time to get another shot back up. I'm perfectly fine with the shot that he took. I think one of the things that you do have to live with when you take that shot is that that most people will not agree with that opinion. And so if you miss that shot, you're going to just have to deal with the fact that there's going to be a lot of people telling you suck. But yeah, I'm fine with that shot. That shot is not why they lost. And for what it's worth, I thought Jordan Poole played pretty well last night. Which was nice to see after him having such a rough series against Sacramento. Yeah, but I'm fine with that shot, and it's definitely not why they lost. So,
I mean, it's not why they lost, but it's a reason they didn't tie the game. So, like, They were down 3, and he shot a shot. I'm not saying that things couldn't go right in the early stages of that quarter or in the third quarter, but at that moment, you're down 3 with 10 seconds left. I just, I don't have a problem with the shot. I don't even care that he took it. I just feel like he could have he didn't really set his feet. I know you're talking about he set his feet. He didn't. Like, he shot that contorted. Like, he was turning and he was shooting that shot. And I feel like if he was at least set, he could have had a better shot at making that shot than shooting the way that he did. That's all I'm saying. Like, I feel like he could have, if he would have shot it in rhythm. I'm not even saying you have to take a dribble. I mean, take a step. If he would have shot that in rhythm, even if his feet is down, like, I feel like he would have had a better shot at making that than shooting it the way that he did. But you know what? It's game 1. That's over. Like, hopefully they could get past that shit. Hopefully I already passed that and move on to game 2. So it's gonna be a doozy. Who wins game 2?
Warriors.
I got Warriors.
If I know the Warriors, they're gonna win game 2 by like 15 plus points. It's gonna be an ass whooping. If I know anything about that team and that core, so
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm sure they'll respond the way that they need to. And yeah, like you said, I thought Jordan Poole actually played pretty well, and I think he's going to have a big role in this series. So I don't think he should let that get to him. I mean, he missed one shot. He hit 6 threes. I think Steph, Clay, and Poole all had 6 threes. So he's going to have to move on from it. I mean, some people are ripping him, but that's what the internet's going to do. So I don't think he needs to let that get to him. If he has a shot like that again, he can stick it. So I think he just needs to stay confident.